I hope you will forgive me for the bunch of disorder ideas that I will present to you today, but actually some consideration and doubts, wonderings that I developed starting from the exhibition Invisible Archaeology that I recall is actually the origin of this symposium, because this symposium was supposed to end and close the exhibition 2020 in March 2020. So that's why the subtitle of this this conference is about real and digital, and so the consideration that I will try to debate about with you today is just a sort of collecting of ideas that I developed at that time in order to envision, together with my colleagues and the director Greco, the future of this museum about concerning data and how to communicate with our the general visitors through digital environment. So my contribution today is around the growing mass of data around object that may catalyze some reflection about virtual and physical interplay in the museological domain. In particular, I say that new emergent digital format, which here is called, for convenience, digital twins, maybe also be an expression of the ongoing normalization of digital technology in daily practice, as described by the expression of post-digital era. For who is not familiar, acquainted with this concept, post-digital era, let's say just that, okay, so post-digital era is a concept that appeared around 2000, and as all the others post things, it refers to the critical reflection that has been made respect a previous era. If we think about a digital transformation, post-digital transformation is a critical reflection about how digital transformation is beneficial or not, is meaningful or not. And if you look at all the contemporary discourse that we have in daily life about social media and so, we can understand that we are exactly in the moment in which we are looking for the way in which technologies, digital, can be beneficial for and sustainable, not only in the economical field, but especially in the sociological aspects. So in 2013, for instance, there was this meme that you are not a real hipster until you take your typewriter to the park, because the concept of post-digital changed in time. And by the way, it's still changing, and it's fueling a lot of debates in many domains. As I told you, it appeared in 2000 in the domain of art, and then spread in other domains like science and educationals and so. In 2013, this meme represents the first idea of post-digital in a wider sense that was the dream, let's say, of coming back to previous time respect, the digital transformation. So it was recognizing it was a sort of reject about technology, and the reject also the idea that, for instance, personal computer were superior to previous way to write things like a typewriter. But then the concept shifted a bit in time. So through the idea that the digital analogic started to be more in contact with a blurring world separating the two. Now post-digital is just to simplify the idea, it's recognized it is recognizing that actually digital transformation is in our daily life without any sign of it. I mean, we are completely immersed in digital at the level that we can't distinguish it respect the analogical previous era. So today we just speak about communication and not digital communication. We use the same, we completely delete any other digital addendum to many other activities that today are not absolutely normal. Okay, so let's say something about digital twins. Generally speaking, again, it's an introduction about 2000. In the engineering projection, digital twins are basically virtual replica of a physical object, process, or system. And it's, let's say, it's like a safe playground where scientists, engineering, and so can test anything on the models. So it's a way to test a new solution and so to verify if it is working or not. And actually, this way to project is not just a 3D model, it's a 3D model that is containing a really dense network of data. So it's a dynamic model that is replicating exactly like in the physical world, the reaction to any stimulus. And very recently, in the Accenture report of 2021, this type of technology, it is said that is starting to be very interesting also in the healthcare system. So in that report, it was referred that the digital twins are also operating in replicating surgical operations, just a simulation of a surgical operation or testing drugs. And if there are many data about it, about anyone, there's also the opportunity to work on a healthcare plan patient-centered. So a very personalized way to cure thanks to the data that the digital twin can replicate. In our domain, I mean cultural heritage, through the BIM, so the building modeling, we have some experience in digital twins of architectural heritage with the aim of a restoration. And in a different scale, at grade, we can just speak, but in a very vague way, about a digital twin when we speak about digital model. But actually what it lacks at the moment, in generally speaking, the 3D modeling of objects is that they have no so much information that can allow to work in the way I have discussed the topic till now. I mean, the application of digital twin at the moment are limited to restoration activities. So probably you have already known about some restoration or just reconstruction just made digitally thanks to the 3D modeling of the object. Okay, this is just to give you an idea about these two umbrella words that are post-digital and digital twin. Now let's get back a bit, 2019, to share with you the path we have done in projecting and of invisible archaeology. That was a very interesting process because we decided not to speak about Egypt with capital E, but we decided to speak about a museum studying the collection. And the topic was, by the way, very intriguing because after 5 years of working together with hard sciences, and that's thanks to the archaeometric program that we launched in 2015 at the opening of the new permanent exhibition of Museo Egizio, we were in the position to try to develop new understanding of the collection and to share with the public this new understanding. By the way, if you are interested in looking at this exhibition, it's still available in a virtual tour on our website. So, by the way, it's the first virtual tour that we made at that time. So very quickly, no, I don't want this one. Let's go, because I have the link on the, yeah, just, okay. So basically, very quickly, the exhibition was about the growing relationship between Egyptology and the hard science, archaeometry, and how this contribution helped us to develop a better understanding of the biography of the object, because the object study was not only, let's say, a pars pro toto, but was an object with a specific history that was possibly described thanks to the description of materiality and in all the phases of the, starting from the production, use, abandon, and then rediscovering of the object, and then exhibiting the object. So materiality describe a new paradigm to discuss with and to describe to our general visitors. And in the opening of the exhibition, we decided to deliver this strange idea about biography of object that we were borrowing from anthropology, cultural anthropology, using some contemporary objects in order to make clear to our visitors that we weren't speaking about academia, but we were speaking about something that were absolutely in our daily life. So the exhibition was divided in three main areas that were progressing through an ideal biography of the object, starting from the place on the ground where we discover the object, starting so the visible world of the excavation, so developing the idea that the ground and the archaeological excavation is not a searching for an object, the treasure, but a system of nodes of information that are collecting and that are linking many aspects in a multimodal way on the ground. And looking at the progression, also the evolution of the technology, starting from the photography and then to the photogrammetry that Paolo was describing yesterday. And then the invisible world of scientific analysis, the second section about how the scientific analysis allow us to investigate what is not visible, starting from something that for the general visitor were absolutely very evident, that were the colors. And I know you already perfectly know the wooden coffin box of K, but still was a way to deliver what we discover and the gesture of the artisan, the choosing of a pigment or another pigment or both in a new way. And as a curator of the exhibition, I purposely decided not to have so much text in this exhibition, delivering all the communication in a visual way. And this was already interesting because thanks to the digital environment, we developed sort of a new object in the visual language that we use at that time. So the third area was back to the visible. It was devoted to the data how we use the data to reconstruct the information or for a physical reconstruction of an object. And this area was divided in three case studies, mural paintings, papyri, and textile. And the last one, there was a last room that is what is shown here, was actually about the relationship between real and digital that all these study of materialities were unveiling to us. So here we decided not to exhibiting a real object, but the photogrammetric, the 3D printing of the photogrammetric model that Corinna and his team developed. And we used the analysis that Vatican Coffin Project with Alessia Menta, that is here, developed in 2015. And putting all together, we create a sort of new objects that were collecting all these processes. The label in the room was, and I quote, was also a statement about this relationship between real and immaterial and material. And I'm quoting just, okay. The room exhibits not an ancient relics, but materialization of the data that represent its cultural significance, history, and techniques. A 3D print of the outer coffin of the royal scribe Buteamun, which is exhibited on the first floor, creates a dialogue with projection that narrate the phases of its construction, from its carpentry to its decorative design, while asking new questions about the organization of labor in the various workshops and their role in the socio-economic structure of ancient Egypt. The nature of digital object is to help us understand the real object and investigate them better, not replace them. They enable us to define more fully the biography of an artifact, to discover its specific feature, and help ensure the survival of a testimony to the past. So this idea was at the same time, this room was at the same time the perfect ending of the area, speaking about restoration, because obviously we were foreshadowing the possibility that 3D model is the last solution to at least preserve the historical value and witness of the cultural heritage. And we know from dramatic chronicles, even in these days, about how materiality is fragile. So 3D modeling is actually a strategy for the future, very interesting. But at the same time, we discover this new possibility thanks to this experiment in engaging our visitors in a new way of communication, and especially deciding to weight the different weight in communicating the material and immaterial aspects. So digital environment were critical in that exhibition to discover that maybe we could be not so shy in try to deliver messages based on data that were complex or perceived as too much complex, because there were a new strategy. And in a museological framework, material and immaterial could be the starting point for a new reflection about it. So, quickly, this topic was evoking a marvelous description that Heidi Geismar published in the Museum Object Lesson for the Digital Age that was very inspiring to me actually these days. When she speaking about the relationship between object and media in a museum, she described that she wrote that we need to think about the digital not only as material rather than immaterial, but also in terms of a trajectory of materiality. And this was so interesting. That links our commonplace understanding of the digital to the analog, information to material, system to structure, knowledge to form. In this way, this theoretical framework was so powerful to me because it is exactly describing what in the practical, in our practice, we were experimenting. There was, we couldn't ignore the fact that an object has so many layers. We already know that, but there's also a possibility to use digital environment to give a voice to all this layer without the limits that we had in the past. So in the struggle between digital and real, that sometimes it is perceived as a creating monster, we are not speaking about substitution. We are speaking about delivering exactly what Corinna was saying just a minute before. About the idea that there's a specific way, there's a specific aim and results that can be performed using specific tools. And digital tools can be a new way to look at new results and new shapes for the knowledge we try to share with our colleagues from one side, but also with general visitor. So in a way, we can speak about, there's a good example probably that can simplify this idea that belongs to media science, media studies, that is transmedia storytelling, and you will learn about it thanks to another Professor Gilardi in the next days. But transmedia storytelling is basically, from media science, is the idea that you can unfold, you can develop a history using different media and having in your mind that each medium make its own unique contribution to the unfolding of the story. So we can apply the same idea also to the use of digital environment, digital languages. So it's not a matter of substitution or just replicating the analog in the digital, just putting together without any other results more, but integrating what they can perform the better. So the real and the digital one. In some sense, it's something that we have on our perception every day. If you think that actually every phenomenon that we have around us is basically described by through other languages that are not just simplifying and imitating the analog one, but they are just expanding. The concept, giving also new opportunity of dialogue with other disciplines, like, for instance, in this marvelous artistic installation that was describing the powerful mathematics, the presence of mathematics in our daily in the daily activities. Where we have actually the phenomenon, the mathematical equation, and the mathematic model. There are different languages to speak about the same things, but expanding the concept. So an example of this problem, reducing now this general framework to a specific case study, let's speak about, for instance, archaeometry. We have launched in 2017 a project about the Tomb of Ka that you already know. The Tomb of Ka is a very important part of our collection. More than 460 objects discovered perfectly intact in the tomb. And starting 2017, we started with many scientific partners to study the collection of Ka, mixing together different type of analysis approach and expertise. In this way, for instance, for the famous box that you have seen in many other presentations, we unfold that exactly we have for every object, just speaking of multispectral analysis and XRF, we have different layers, and every layer is decoding actually a completely different type of information. Now, if we multiply the case of the box, and I'm just describing this type of analysis on the box. If we multiply that for all the 460 objects, and here you have a table that we presented in the International Symposium on Archaeometry this year, we collect more than 30 type of analysis, different analysis for all the materialities that are present in the collection of Ka, that are spanning from textile to stones, metals, and human remains. And every one, or at least almost all of these analyses, they have a completely different output. They have completely different type of data. And so it emerged the problem that in the future, how to collect this data, the raw data, the interpreted data, the structured data, and to put together and not lose information that maybe it's not important this moment, or we are not capable to understand the importance of some data in this moment, and to project for the future. A possible model of this is just an example. I told you that I'm sharing doubts, wonderings, and curiosities. Is what in science they are called the data cube. What you are looking now is a project of a European Space Agency that are collecting through satellite many information about environment on the planet. So basically there are, by the way, there are technology and the instruments very similar to the technology that we use to study the object, our object, by the way. But they are collecting information about several aspects of the environment, starting from the carbon oxide, the air temperature, precipitation, ozone, water vapor, and so. Now, these data that are collected for a time span are put together, and in every, as you can see, we have a cube made by different cube. Every cube is a topic, let's say, and adding the dimension of the time, you can develop, looking through the data in time, looking for changes, looking for evidence as a process, not as a fixed, crystallized system. So thanks to this type of approach, you also can put together all that type of data, having what they call a sort of hypercube. What does it mean? That the data about the vapor and the data of ozone maybe can interact in a way that can result in a new data. So for instance, in this case, they are putting together all these layers in this hypercube, showing that looking through together all this data is possible to discover interaction that maybe at the first sight are not so easy to understand. For instance, in this case, in the red part that you are seeing in the yellow area, they are discriminating a specific interaction that they are speaking about a rising in temperature, and a rising temperature in a specific area of the planet that it will be shown it's Russia for a specific moment. It depends from several factors that are dispersed in the different layers that we have seen before. But okay, this is just a concept. The data cube is a way to put together different type of information, having the possibility to have them interacting. Okay, if we try to just ideally, because I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a physics, I'm just an Egyptologist, and I thought to myself, I think of myself especially as a curator in these days. I found very interesting the idea that starting from an object, through the analysis, we develop some data in the digital domain, and these new materialities can be reconstructed and structured in a data set, a new type of data set, in order to have a new object, a new digital object that now, for convenience, we describe as a digital twin. They are exactly like the video before. They are the same things, but they are source and output that are materialized. Now, concerning archaeometry, let's say, just think about this as a process in order to have a digital twin that is speaking about archaeometry. But now, if we think that archaeometry can be just one side of our exploration of an object, And that's why I put the cube, the cube just in the middle of that set of scientific investigation. Okay, but actually we can do the same with different other aspects, like analysis from the Egyptological point of view, archaeology, conservation activities. If we look at an object and we look for the previous conservation activities in order to understand what have to do today, and so there's a history. And actually we are struggling, I guess many museums are struggling sometimes in the lackness of the documentation about maybe restoration made at the beginning of 20th century. And yes, obviously, there's also a museological domain that can be explored to understand an object. And I must say that also the archival exploration, and why not press and media, how an object was received by the, maybe in the past and now today, and giving this new possibility to explore the agencies of an object. So if we add time in this our hypercube, we have the opportunity to develop better understanding of the past. In some way, we are doing something similar in specific path, like for instance, historical archive. But if we look at this this way, we have the opportunity to also predict in time, having the data starting from today. And this is another opportunity that is multi-point, multi-entry point, also to develop expanded the curatorship of an object, speaking with different discipline. And I end with just what it is, the motivation of this pipe dream. I understand it can be perceived as a pipe dream, and maybe it is. Maybe we didn't see, we won't see this object in our present days, but that's why probably we have to start to think about legacy. And starting from today, pushing on the data and the possibility to explore this possibility, it's a way to be, as Kesnarik said, maybe good ancestor. Thank you so much.